things that Andrew always points to. He always talks about unity and complexity, right? So there's both of those two things going on. It's not just that, I can see more colors of the rainbow, right? Just a banal example. It's that I can recognize that all of these colors make up a rainbow, right? So it's not just that you're recognizing more complexity, it's that you're recognizing interdependence, right? And you're recognizing a sort of, you get toward the more complexity you notice, the more you recognize that the source is coming from some sense of unity, right? It's the Wilper's circle of care, right? And now, my hombres are now people in my tribe, people in my religion, people in my nation, people in the world, people in general, right? It's that even though, you have to hold greater diversity, right? With those widening circles of care, you recognize that, oh, wait, I'm not just a white person, I am a person, right? So there's greater unity in that understanding, but it also requires that you sort of are able to navigate spaces that are more complex as well. So I think that the unity part of that really points to, I think, what you were asking, Blake, and pointing to,
It makes me think of, I was watching Brian swim a couple of days ago, and he was talking about three fundamental aspects of the universe. The first being subjectivity, the second being communion, and the third being differentiation. And so I think it's that differentiation that, all this multiplicity of objects and then subjectivities that is arising, and then how those communicate and commune together is unitive, and at the same time you're experiencing that diversity and that proliferation of individuality and difference, and that's complex in both ways, in its differentiation and in its communion through differentiation.
Yeah, and it's that communion through differentiation. I think that's what we're kind of at the edge right now, because it seems like postmodernism, generally, if we make a broad statement, is kind of very focused on the individual, right? And the kind of union with differentiation is almost like, I guess we could say God, if we want to use God, is kind of waking up to itself within each of us, right? Or that spirit is seeing itself again, seeing itself through us, and that creates a tremendous amount of complexities of what that actually means, I think.
Yeah, we have it here in front of us, right? We have 1, 2, 3 of us differentiated, coming at it from a very subjective point of view. Emily, you have yours. Blake, you have mine. I have my view on this, and here we are communing and integrating and bringing our, individual life paths and perspectives and views on the chapter we just read into a dialogue where it's a we space.
And it goes beyond just the individual, right? I mean, I think that there's a certain impersonal kind of, impersonal recognition that, the we space you're talking about is that, we definitely have in some ways, different experiences, we have different upbringings, different education, but I think that we can generally understand each other, and I think that although our experience seems unique, in some ways it's, we're both resonating with this, and I think that
all three.
Exactly. So there's that recognition that, it's not just us recognizing this, it's all three of us and there's other people waking up to this, which is exciting, and it's just, for me it's like a sense of love, a sense of just really, wanting to be more in this culture, creating a culture like this. And the more we do this stuff at these higher levels, the more likely it is to occur.
And you're proving that you actually want to not just have that as a cute idea in your mind, but by gathering Emily and myself and the three of us together, by getting this organized, Blake, you're actually living that in the reality. So high five, buddy.
Well, we're all doing it, right? So it's but I think it's one interesting point, though, I think that maybe we can end with, is that in some ways, what I've found interesting is that, in some ways, society, we'd love to have everybody, be kind of resonating with this stuff, right? And I think that we definitely have that in our heart to want that. But the thing is it if it's actually possible, right? I think that we are in some ways. This isn't like a world teaching in some ways. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it takes time, and then it's only going to be generally, I think. I mean, maybe you guys might disagree, but it seems like there's going to be a relatively small minority of people pushing into these kind of higher developments, and that's just sort of going to be the case for probably several, hundred, maybe a couple hundred years, right? Hopefully not, but there's not going to be this kind of global awakening that I think in postmodern kind of spirituality is often the case. But you guys might disagree. Like, I mean, it does only take a small minority of people, but I don't think there's going to be this radical change in society and in the world just because overnight people come to recognize spirit. But we see these levels of development that do take time. Any last thoughts about that? I talked a bit, but
I will always hold open the possibility for a spontaneous global awakening.
But is that being naive? Because
that's too sweet.
I always open that possibility. But
why is that? Is that just because
saying.
You think like 2012 is going to be like this vast expansion?
I have no thoughts on that.
No, you can't just say a statement and then just leave it without any kind of with any justification.
No, I'm saying I hold open the possibility that could occur. That would be wonderful. That would be amazing. But the thing for me that your idea brings up is that you actually have to actualize these things we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So someday I look forward to a conversation when Mark and I are actually speaking from hell's supermind. Why not?
Supermind,
yeah,
baby. I see the supermind.
We have to actually, Andrew always uses the word exemplars. We actually have to start living and doing and being an example of this out in the world, because ideas and conjecture and all the theory in the world won't stand in for the fact that people don't think it's possible until they actually see it, because the things we're talking about they're hard to grasp. And if you don't actually see what a person looks like who's actualized these changes and how their natural approach to life is just different, and why that's a positive thing, right? If that's not actually in front of a person, it's sort of difficult to be see, this is great, it's wonderful.
And doing that,
read this book.
But Emily, doing that intersubjective, right? Like in a cultural, creating culture at that, right? I mean, not even just doing it for ourselves individually, but doing it as something that we create as a culture. And that making the kind of external things what would that look like in an external way? What kind of expressions from that level? What does it look like?
Well,
I guess we don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping we'll find out in this lifetime. At least what the beginnings of it look like.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Good.
Well, it's great talking, and I guess we'll sign off.
Yeah, lots of love.
Do you want a fist pump? Mark, you like the fist pumps.
That's right. Pound for pound. All right. Adios.
Do you guys
See ya.
Okay, see you. Do you guys want to keep talking, or is this actually